Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going deep on financial literacy with Financial Code Volume 1. We're going to try to pull out the best stuff for you so you can feel good about your money, you know?
Yeah, and the cool thing is, this book, it's not like a boring textbook or anything. It's got a lot of real-life stuff and advice you can actually use.
Yeah, for sure. I was hooked from the first part when it talked about compound interest. It's like a secret weapon for your money. Can really make a difference over time.
Totally. It's like when you plant a seed and it grows into a big tree. But before you even get to investing, the book sets you up with the basics, like how to manage your money.
Okay, so let's talk about that. What are some of the key things from the budgeting section? I mean, everyone knows it's important, but does this book do it differently?
Well, one thing that I thought was really interesting was how they talked about the psychology of budgeting. It's not just about doing the math. It's about getting to know your spending habits. And then you can make choices that work for you.
Interesting. So it's more about mindful spending instead of just cutting back on everything.
Exactly. They even say you should keep track of what you spend for a month. Not to make you feel bad, but to just see where your money's going. You might be surprised.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sometimes we don't even realize we're spending money on little things. Speaking of feeling secure, the book talks about emergency funds. How does the book explain that?
Well, it's not just about having money for surprise expenses, although that's super important. It's also about peace of mind. Knowing you have a backup can make you less stressed and help you make smarter money choices.
So it's like having a financial safety net.
Exactly. And the book gives some pretty good examples of how an emergency fund can save the day. If you suddenly lose your job or have unexpected medical bills.
Okay, so we've got our budget figured out, our emergency fund is set. What's next?
Well, the book then gets into saving for the future, things you want short-term and long-term. It encourages you to think about what you want to achieve, like a dream vacation, buying a house, or even a comfortable retirement.
Yeah, and I like how it doesn't just say save more. It actually gives you ways to save for different goals. Did anything stand out to you in that section?
Well, one thing I thought was really helpful was the part about high-yield savings accounts.
Yeah.
It explains how they work, compares interest rates, and even talks about the downsides to watch out for.
So it's not just about chasing the best interest rate. It's about understanding the details.
Exactly. And it also talks about automating your savings, setting it up so that some money goes straight into your savings every month. That can make a big difference.
That's a great idea. You don't even have to think about it. Okay, so budgeting, emergency funds, saving strategies. Are we ready to talk about the magic of compound interest now?
Yeah, we are. And this is where things get really interesting. Compound interest is basically when you earn interest on top of your interest. It's like a snowball getting bigger and bigger as it rolls down a hill.
Okay, I need an example. How does that actually work in real life?
Well, the book has this awesome chart that shows two people. One starts investing $100 a month when they're 25. The other starts at 35. The difference in how much they end up with when they retire is huge.
Wow, okay. I'm starting to see why you called it magic. It's not just about how much you save, it's about when you start.
Yeah, exactly. Time is like your best friend when it comes to compound interest.
So the big takeaway is to start early, even if it's just a little bit.
Totally. The sooner you start, the more time your money has to grow. Even small amounts can add up to a lot over time because of compounding.
All right, so our savings are growing like a snowball. But now we need to talk about the big thing that no one likes talking about: debt.
Yeah, the book talks about debt directly. And I like how it doesn't pretend it's simple. It's really important to understand the different types of debt, like how interest rates work, and even how debt can make you feel bad.
So it's not just about getting out of debt, it's about really understanding it.
Exactly. The book talks about good debt, like a mortgage that could help you in the long run, and bad debt, like credit card debt that can get out of control fast.
That's helpful. So how does the book say we should handle debt? Are there specific strategies?
It does, and it knows that there's no one right way to do it. It talks about things like the snowball and avalanche methods and what's good and bad about each.
For people who haven't heard of those, can you explain how they work?
Sure. So the snowball method is like paying off your smallest debts first to get you motivated. And the avalanche method is where you focus on the debts with the highest interest to save money in the long run.
So you pick the method that works for you and your money situation.
Yeah, exactly. And the book also talks about how debt can make you feel like ashamed or stressed.
Yeah, it can be like a taboo topic, but it seems like the book tries to understand it.
It does. And it says that it's okay to get help if you're struggling with debt. It even tells you where to find financial counseling and stuff.
Wow, that's really helpful. Budgeting, emergency funds, saving strategies, dealing with debt. Sounds like we've covered the basics of financial literacy. What's next in our deep dive?
Well, in the next part, we'll get into investing. We'll see how financial code explains things like stocks and bonds, and we'll talk about how to build an investment portfolio that works for you. Stay tuned.
All right, we're back. Last time we covered a bunch of stuff from financial code, budgeting, emergency funds, saving strategies, and even debt. But now it's time to step it up and talk about investing.
Yeah, investing can seem scary, but financial code makes it pretty easy to understand.
Okay, good, because I'm ready to get into it. Where do we even start? There are so many different ways to invest.
Well, the book starts with the basics, like what investing is, why it's important, and how it can help you reach your money goals. It basically says that investing isn't just for rich people, it's something anyone can do to build wealth.
Right. I think a lot of people think investing is too risky or you need a lot of money to start.
Exactly. Financial code says those things aren't true and explains that even small, consistent investments can make a big difference because of compound interest.
Ah, compound interest, our favorite financial friend.
That's right. And when you're talking about investing, compound interest is a game changer. Just imagine your money making interest and then that interest making more interest year after year.
Okay, I could see that would be good. So what kinds of investments does the book recommend?
It talks about all sorts of things like stocks and bonds and mutual funds and real estate. It explains like the good and bad things about each and how they fit into a diverse investment portfolio.
Wait, a diverse portfolio, what does that mean?
Of course. Diversifying basically means spreading your investments across different types of assets to lower your risk. The idea is that if one investment doesn't do well, the others might do better, and that helps balance things out.
Ah, so it's like they say, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, exactly. Financial code compares building a diverse portfolio to building a strong building. You wouldn't build a skyscraper on just one pillar.
That makes sense. So how do you actually diversify your investments?
The book gives you steps to follow, starting with figuring out how much risk you're comfortable with. Are you okay with more risk for a chance to earn more money? Or do you want to play it safe?
I guess it depends on your situation and what you're trying to achieve.
Totally. And once you know how much risk you can handle, the book helps you pick investments that match your goals and risk level. It even shows you example portfolios for different types of investors.
So it's like having a personal investment guide.
Right. And Financial Code also talks about the importance of staying informed. You have to adjust your portfolio as things change. It gives you resources for researching investments, checking out market trends, and making smart decisions.
That's important. Investing isn't something you can just set and forget.
You got it. The book makes it clear that to be successful with investing, you have to keep learning and paying attention.
Okay, so we've talked about diversification, risk tolerance, and staying informed. Anything else about investing stand out to you from the book?
One thing I thought was really interesting was the part about behavioral finance. That's like the psychology of investing. It's about how our emotions can mess with our investment decisions. Sometimes they make us do things that aren't logical.
Oh, interesting. So it's not just about numbers, it's about understanding how we think and act with money.
Exactly.
Mhm.
The book gives you tips on how to avoid common mistakes, like getting caught up in the hype or being too afraid of losing money.
Okay, let's get into some specific types of investments. Stocks seem like a good place to start. How does the book talk about them?
So the book explains that stocks are like owning a tiny piece of a company. Investing in stocks can be a great way to grow your wealth over time. But it also says that stocks can be risky because their value can go up and down.
Yeah, there's no guarantee you'll make money.
You got it. Financial Code explains different types of stocks, like big companies, small companies, growing companies, and companies that are already successful. And it tells you how to choose stocks that match your investment goals. It even gives you tips on researching different companies.
That's really useful. What about bonds? Where do they fit in?
Well, bonds are basically when you lend money to a company or the government. They're not as risky as stocks, but they don't usually make as much money either. Financial Code explains different types of bonds, when they mature, and how to understand bond yields.
So bonds are like a safer investment option, a good way to add diversity to your portfolio.
Yeah, exactly. And then there are mutual funds, which are like a collection of stocks or bonds managed by a professional. They give you diversification and can be a good way to start investing.
Wow, so many options. It sounds like financial code gives you a really thorough understanding of investing.
It does. And it also says it's important to pick the right investment account, like a regular brokerage account or a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA.
Right. Taxes can be a big deal.
Definitely. And financial code explains the different types of accounts and how to choose the one that's best for you. It even gets into more complicated things like how to spread your investments and rebalance your portfolio.
Wow, this is a lot.
I know. But don't worry, financial code does a good job of breaking down complicated things so they're easy to understand, and it gives you steps you can take to get started.
Okay, that's good to know. I'm feeling more confident about getting into investing now. What else can we learn from the book?
Well, in the last part of our deep dive, we'll talk about how financial code connects personal finance to the bigger picture, like how it affects communities, businesses, and the economy. It's really interesting stuff.
And we're back for the last part of our deep dive into financial code, Volume 1. We've covered a lot like budgeting, saving, tackling debt, and even getting into investing.
It's been a journey, hasn't it? And there's still more in this book we haven't even touched on.
Totally. In this part, I want to see how financial code connects personal finance to the bigger picture. You mentioned something about how it affects communities and the economy, right?
Yeah, definitely. The book goes beyond just your own money and talks about how being financially smart can make communities stronger, encourage people to start businesses, and make the economy more stable.
Okay, that's really interesting. Can you explain that more? How does our own money connect to those bigger things?
Well, think about a community where most people are good with their money. They can manage their finances, save for their future, and avoid those loans that take advantage of people. This can create more stable families, less financial stress, and overall better economic security.
So when individuals are financially secure, it makes the whole community stronger.
Exactly. And when people feel financially secure, they're more likely to take risks, like starting a business or investing in their community.
So knowing about money can actually help the economy grow and be more innovative.
Exactly. Financial code says that giving people financial knowledge isn't just about helping them personally. It's about creating a society that's better off for everyone.
That's a powerful idea. It makes financial literacy seem even more important. It's not just about our own wallets.
Right. And the book also talks about teaching financial stuff in schools and communities. It says we need to teach young people about money so they can make good decisions in today's world.
Definitely. It's never too early to start learning about finances. It should be a part of everyone's education.
I agree. And financial code even gives tips for parents, teachers, and community leaders who want to teach others about money.
I like that. I'm also interested in what the book says about technology and money. There are so many apps and websites for managing money these days.
They talk about that too. It says technology can be really helpful for things like budgeting, tracking investments, and automatically saving money. But it also warns about the downsides like spending too much or getting tricked by scams.
So we need to be smart about how we use these tools.
Right. It's important to make sure the technology we use for money matches our goals and values.
Good advice. Thinking back on everything we've talked about from financial code, what were some of the biggest takeaways for you?
Well, one thing that stuck with me is how much the book focuses on your mindset. It's not just about the technical stuff of managing money. It's about having a good relationship with money and being open to learning new things about your finances.
I see what you mean. It's about changing how we think about money and seeing challenges as opportunities to learn and grow.
Exactly. And I also appreciate that the book is really practical. It gives you concrete steps to take to get better with your money.
I agree. It's not just talking about ideas, it's about actually doing something.
Right. And it acknowledges that everyone's different. There's no one right way to manage money. The book gives you a framework and encourages you to make it work for your own life and goals.
That's important. It's about giving people the power to take control of their finances and make smart choices.
Exactly. I think financial code does a great job of doing that.
Well said. After this deep dive, I'm feeling motivated and ready to improve my own financial literacy.
That's awesome. Remember, this is just the start. Learning about money is a lifelong process.
For sure. We encourage all our listeners to check out Financial Code Volume 1. You might be surprised how much you learn.
That's it for this deep dive. Keep learning and stay focused on your financial goals.